piece me together, figure me out, solve my case, leave no doubt, no stone unturned, weave your webs, bridges are burned, connect the threads, the bodies keep piling up, how much death is enough, such a killer, a weapon at heart, slay the sinner, break them apart, sometimes justice isn't enough, sometimes the monsters call your bluff, just keep it in mind, if they do the crime, they'll pay in blood or with time.
Mr. Saldana, were you at home in your apartment on the evening of August 1st, 2020?
I really can't remember that.
Do you know which day we're talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Have you met Detective Moran seated here to my right?
Yeah.
He came to your house?
Yeah.
And did he ask you some questions about a shooting?
I think so.
Do you remember hearing some gunshots on August 1st, 2020?
Not really.
Did you tell Detective Moran that you heard some gunshots on August 1st, 2020?
Sir, I was very drunk that night that everything went down. I can't remember what I heard.
Mr. Saldana, are you afraid to testify today?
Well, I don't want to be here.
Are you afraid of what might happen to you if you testify against the defendant?
No, I don't know him.
Did you call Detective Moran last week and tell him that you were afraid to testify in court?
I did tell him I didn't want to testify.
Did you tell him that if you had to testify, you would say you couldn't remember anything because you were drunk?
I don't remember anything.
But when you first talked to Detective Moran 2 years ago, you never told him you were drunk, did you?
Maybe not.
And at that time, you told him that you heard 5 gunshots, right?
I don't remember.
And you told him that you looked outside and saw a man with a shaved head holding a gun getting into the passenger seat of a gray Honda Civic.
I don't remember.
And that you saw the driver of the Civic had a full head of hair.
I don't remember.
Nothing further. Detective Moran, you are investigating officer in the death of Johnny Valdez. Yes. Did you speak with the last witness, Mr. Saldana, about what he'd heard and seen the day of the murder? Yes, I did. Was that conversation recorded? It was. And what did he tell you? Mr. Saldana lives in a building which is adjacent to the alley where the murder was committed. He said on the day of the shooting at about 10 p.m., he was in his apartment when he heard several gunshots. He looked out of the window towards the street and saw a man holding a gun and entering the passenger seat of a gray Honda Civic. He said that the man holding a gun had a shaved head. He said that the person driving the car appeared to be a male with a full head of hair. He saw the Honda speed away. And did he call you last week? Yes. He called me and said that he did not want to testify in court because he didn't want to get killed by the gang members involved. And he said that if he was forced to testify, he was going to tell the jury he didn't remember anything. Is it common for a witness in a gang case to recant their statement when they testify in court? It's extremely common. Understandably, most people feel it's not worth risking their lives over. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. Mr. Zolata, do you know the defendant? That's my little brother. Back on August 1st, 2020, were you and the defendant living together? Yeah, at my mom's house. Are you still living there? No. Why not? My mama kicked me out. Why did she kick you out? Because I told the cops what I knew about the murder. About your brother being involved? Yeah. Were you at home late in the evening on August 1st? Yeah, I was just watching TV. Tell us what happened. Okay, I seen my mom's car pull up in the driveway. Esteban got out of the front passenger seat, and one of his homies got out of the driver's seat. Had you ever seen that guy before? No. What did he look like? He was just Latino, that's all I could see. He had longer hair, almost like mine. Did your brother have a shaved head back then? Yes. What happened next? That guy walked away and Esteban came in the house. I asked him why he was letting somebody drive Mom's car, because my mom had a pretty strict rule that no one except her sons were allowed to drive it. Did he respond? He just said that they had to do something for Stomper. They had to do something for Stomper. Yes. Do you know who Stomper is? He was my brother's homie, but he had got shot like a week earlier. Is your brother a gang member? He's been with the Latin gentleman since he was in junior high. What about Stomper? He was Latin gentleman too. And were Esteban and Stomper close? Yeah, they used to kick it a lot. Are you a member of the Latin gentleman? No, I don't gangbang. I always tried to get my brother to stop messing around with them. But I failed him. Now, Mr. Zalata, when the police first interviewed you, did you know why they were asking you questions? No, they just said they were conducting an investigation. Eventually, you learned that your brother had been arrested for murder. Yes. Since you found that out, have you changed your story? No, I've told the truth every time. You said your mother kicked you out for cooperating in this case. She told me I should be sticking up for my family. And yet you came to court today and gave the same story you always have. Why? Because it's the truth. Do you love your brother?
Of course I do. I've always taken care of you, little bro. But I've been telling you for years you need to stop with these fools. And if next time it's some innocent kid or some other person that doesn't deserve it, I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I knew I had a part in that. I'm here because I have to do the right thing, but also because you need a wake-up call. The Latin gentlemen, all they do is cause destruction and hurt. They steal, they rob, they kill, they terrorize. I've had my life threatened because I was coming here today, but here I am anyway. I would never let the homies do nothing to you, bro. I love you too. Stop talking. All I can do is what I think is right, Mr. Rockford.
No further questions, Your Honor. When Esteban came home that night, did he seem drunk?
Yeah, he did.
Dr. Bishar, you are a medical examiner for the Santa Valeria County Coroner's Office.
I am.
Did you conduct an autopsy on the body of the victim, Johnny Valdez?
Yes.
Did you form an opinion as to the cause of death?
Yes. Mr. Valdez suffered 3 gunshot wounds, 2 to the torso and 1 to the head. The head wound was fatal.
Your Honor, the people have no further witnesses. I'm requesting that all of our exhibits be admitted into evidence.
All right, People's Exhibits 1 through 33 will be admitted into evidence.
Miss Stillwell, is your client going to testify? No, Your Honor, he's exercising his right to stay silent.
All right, Mr. Zelada, do you understand that you have the right to testify on your own behalf if you choose, and do you choose to give that up? Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my first witness will be the defendant's mother.
All right, let's bring the jury in.
Miss Garcia, do you know Esteban Zelada? Yes, he's my son. Before he was arrested, were both of your sons, Esteban and Miguel, living with you? Yes, they were. And what was their relationship like back then? They had had a fight, like a fist fight a few months earlier. After that, Miguel wanted Esteban to move out. They weren't on speaking terms. What was the fight about? Miguel believed that Esteban was stealing from me. But that wasn't true. I had lost some money gambling, but I was too ashamed to admit it. At the time your son was arrested, did you own a gray 2012 Honda Civic? Yes. Did your son sometimes drive that car? Yes, sometimes. Other than your sons, who else was living at that house? My brother plus my daughter's boyfriend was usually there. Also, my cousins would come over a lot and we'd have other friends too. Objection, Your Honor, vague.
Overruled.
Did any of those men have shaved heads? Sure, my brother sometimes, and my daughter's boyfriend, the cousins, all of them probably at one point had a shaved head. Is your brother a member of the Latin gentleman gang? Yes. What about your daughter's boyfriend and your cousins? Well, to some extent they all associate with the gentleman. Did any of them drive the car? Yes, most of them at some point. Did your brother have his own car? He did, but sometimes it would break down, so he would need to take mine. And how often did that happen? Oh, a lot, like probably 8 or 9 times. And your daughter, I forget. And your daughter's boyfriend? He did have his own car, but I remember sometimes he used mine. Why was he using it? Like, if I was at work, maybe one of them would use it to run an errand? You didn't take your car to work? Well, usually Esteban would drop me off. So, at the time that this crime was committed, how many members of the Latin gentleman had access to your car? At least like 12, 13? Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay lacks foundation. Overruled. Sorry. Don't worry about it. No further questions. Good afternoon, Miss Garcia. Did you talk to the police before your son was arrested? I remember the detective asked me some questions about my car, yes, but he didn't tell me why he was interviewing me. If he would have told me that he thought Esteban had committed a murder, I could have told him he was mistaken. Esteban wouldn't do that kind of thing. He's a good boy. He takes care of his sick grandma. Isn't it true that you told the detective that only 3 people drove your car? You and your sons. Yes, I did say that, but I meant only the 3 of us usually drove it. You said Esteban would drop you off and then someone else would drive your car while you were at work. But if you were at work, how would you know that someone else was using your car? They would ask me, since I would be working, so they would just text me and ask, and I would say sure. Basically, anyone that would ask me, I would say okay. Lots of people be using my car. That's why this whole thing is so ridiculous. Do you still own the car? Yes. And you still allow other people to drive it? Yes. And of course, they still ask you for permission before they drive it, right? Yes, they do, and I always say okay. Did someone ask if they could use your car the day of the murder? I can't remember. That was 2 years ago. Okay, did you bring your cell phone with you today? Of course. Could you open it up and find any text messages you received where someone asked you to use your car on the day of the murder? No, this phone is only like a year old. Well, he got arrested 2 weeks after the murder, didn't he? Yes. Wouldn't you have told his lawyer at the time that someone else had been using your car? And wouldn't you have shown the lawyer a text message where someone else had asked for permission to use the car? No, I didn't really think about it. You didn't think about it. Your son had just been charged with murder and you believed he was innocent, right?
Of course, my son would never do this. And it was very important to you that your son not get convicted of something he didn't do, right? Yes. And you knew that the police believed your son had used your car to commit the murder, right? Yes. And yet it never occurred to you to try and figure out who was using your car the day of the murder? I just didn't think about it. And also, you know what? It's because sometimes they would just take it without asking. Oh, I see. So before you said they would always ask, but now you're saying sometimes they would not ask, right? Well, I didn't say always. And that's still how it is? Sometimes they ask, sometimes they don't? Yes. And when they do ask, you said they do it by sending you a text message, right? Yes, 'cause I'll be working. Okay, well, Miss Garcia, could you please open up your phone and show us the last time that someone asked to use your car? Objection, relevance as to time? Overruled. Goes to credibility. Well, I'm not really sure. It doesn't even have to be the last time. Just one time where anyone has ever texted you and asked you to use the car. We'll wait. I think I accidentally deleted all of them. Oh my, well, isn't that just bad luck? Objection, argumentative. Sustained. All right, ladies and gentlemen, both sides have now rested their case. Tomorrow the lawyers will give their closing arguments. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Hey, Aaron. Oh, hey, John. That's a long face if I've ever seen one. My jury just came back not guilty. Ah, dang. I'm sorry. What kind of case was it? It was a sexual assault case. The victim and her family just left. She was really upset. I feel terrible for her. I'm sure you did your best. It was a good case, a strong case. What happened? I think it was a couple things. The victim had lied to the police about not having some marijuana. Which was dumb, I get it. The police didn't even care about her having it. But the jury decided she wasn't trustworthy. Exactly. It's not fair. She lied about having marijuana, so she must be lying about getting raped. No, it's not fair at all. What was the other thing? The stupid judge let this defense attorney argue that all police are corrupt, and so they couldn't trust the evidence the officers had collected. Was there some evidence that the police had done something dishonest? None. It was just wild speculation. Yeah, that was a bad call by the judge. It's so hard doing this job in 2022, John. The public doesn't like us. Jurors don't trust us. Ever since George Floyd. Yeah, it's been getting harder for a long time, but George Floyd was definitely a turning point. Nobody believes in the system anymore. And now this poor girl has to go home in tears. She completely exposed herself only to be told she's not entitled to justice because she's not a perfect human being.
Meanwhile, the defendant is laughing at her and probably going to do it again. She would have been better off just keeping her mouth shut. I'm sorry, Aaron. That's a tough one to lose. But hey, we've got to keep faith in the system, right? It's not perfect, but it's the best one we can come up with. I know. John, I'm not feeling a lot of confidence in the system right now. Hi, John. Hey, Jamie. How's your trial going? Good. Should wrap up by tomorrow. Hey, Trevor is in town for a couple of weeks. We're going to see the new Spider-Man movie on Saturday. Do you want to come? Yeah, sure. That sounds like fun. Jamie, I met her. I met my sister. John, really? That's great. Tell me all about it. Your Honor, before the jury comes in, I'd like to renew my request that the jury be instructed on the heat of passion defense. If my client did commit this murder, he was clearly operating under the intense emotional distress of the recent death of his friend. He should therefore not be liable for murder, but only for voluntary manslaughter. That request is respectfully denied. A whole week passed between the two murders. Mr. Zalata had plenty of time to cool down and to think about the consequences of his action. There is no legal justification for this crime. Miss Valencia, let's bring in the jurors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the attorneys will now make their closing arguments in this case. Mr. Rockford. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good morning, good morning. In the United States, the right to a jury trial is sacred. Enshrined in our federal Constitution is a right that many of us have come to take for granted. And yet there are many countries in the world that have no comparable right. There are some places where, if the government wants to, they simply come to your house, drag you away, and lock you up. I am here because I believe in our system of justice. I believe that in order for us to have any confidence in our justice system, we must have trial by jury of objective members of the community. It is the role of the jury to dispassionately consider the evidence and operate as a check on the whole work of law enforcement. True freedom includes the right for your crimes to be decided by members of the community. Lack of freedom is when you are punished for a crime but do not receive your due process. Our system requires not one person to decide if you are guilty, but 12. And if one person in that group of 12 says they are not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that you are guilty, then you cannot be convicted of a crime. I love this system. It's not perfect, but until somebody comes up with a perfect system, it's the best system in the world. I know that if I am ever accused of committing a crime, a jury of my peers will review the evidence against me. Can you imagine if, as the prosecutor, I had the power all by myself to convict someone? Anybody I accused, I could have the judge send them to prison. Isn't that frightening to you? To think of living in a place where one person has such power? Now I'm here today to tell you that Esteban Zalata is guilty. He did commit murder, and he deserves to be convicted of murder. But I insist that he get his jury trial, so that the community can have confidence that when Esteban Zalata is convicted, he was dealt with justly. Now, we all agree with this, right? All of you members of the jury, you believe in the right to a trial by jury? The judge does. Miss Stillwell does. Detective Moran, the bailiff. Everybody does. Except for one person. There's one person in this room who does not believe in trial by jury. And very ironically, that is the person for whom we are having this jury trial, Esteban Zalata. The defendant decided that Johnny Valdez was guilty of murder. He convicted Johnny all by himself, and he executed him for that crime. There was no jury trial to make sure he was really guilty. There was no attorney to represent Mr. Valdez. There was no one advocating on his behalf. There was no judge presiding over his case to ensure that whatever punishment he received was fair. And that's because the defendant did not believe that Mr. Valdez was entitled to a jury trial. Now, maybe the defendant's opinion has changed since he got arrested. Maybe when it was Johnny Valdez being charged with a crime, Esteban Zalata didn't believe in the right to a trial by jury. But now that he's the one in the defendant's chair, he's become a believer. Don't you agree that Esteban Zalata is entitled to a trial by jury? And don't you agree that Johnny Valdez was entitled to a trial by jury? Are we going to look at Mr. Zalata now and say, well, he did commit murder, but the victim had it coming, so we're going to let him walk? I hope none of you are thinking that. Because you took an oath to follow the law and decide this case based on the evidence, not based on any personal feelings about whether or not the victim had it coming. Now, did the evidence prove Mr. Zalata murdered Johnny Valdez? Yes, it did. Let's review. Your Honor, if I may have just a moment to start up my PowerPoint presentation. All right, members of the jury, you have now heard arguments from both sides. You will now retire to the jury room and begin your deliberations. Please follow the bailiff's instructions. Senor Rockford, what will happen now? Now we just wait for the verdict. The case is in the jury's hands. Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so nervous. What will they do? We can never know, but let's have faith that they'll do the right thing. Thank you. You're a good man. And thank you, Senor Moran. Thank you so much. Johnny, he did bad things, but he was my son. It will be all over soon, Miss Valdez. This one's in the bag. It should be. This one felt like a ringer. You'll call me when there's a verdict? Of course. Always good to work with you, John. And Jessa, great work with the defendant's mom. Thank you. It was really nice meeting you. I left my briefcase in court. I'll meet you back at the office. Well, hello. I knew if I stuck my ass out long enough, you'd come sniffing around.
You keep sticking that thing out, and in a few minutes you're going to have every man in the building sniffing around. Maybe just a few women, too. Why? Is my penis showing? Just a pair of nicely toned legs. And I don't think there's enough room to hide a penis under that dress. There's room for a really small penis. Okay, I think that's enough of that mental image. Anyway, I thought you left. I wanted to say hi. What did you think of the case? Did I convince you? You were right. He definitely did it, and he sounds like a piece of shit, and I hope you win your case. Thank you, that's very diplomatic of you. Hey, can you do me a favor and text me Anna's number? I've got a guy for her. Oh, fun. She'll be excited. Anyway, I've got to run, but I'm glad you came. It was fun seeing you. Thanks for letting me peek under the hood, Mr. Assistant District Attorney. Training session Monday? Until then, John Rockford. Hey, I just forgot my briefcase. No shoes? No, John, I'm not wearing shoes, so what? Are you going to prosecute me for going barefoot in my own courtroom? Is not wearing shoes a crime against America that only John Rockford can avenge? Okay, relax, jeez. I'm just making a harmless comment. Really, because it sounds like you think I should be wearing shoes. You know, Vega, I have tried to make the best of an awkward situation here. I have been polite and friendly. I have tried to help both of us behave like adults. You actually think that you're the adult here. This is why it makes me so mad to see you parading around here like you're some kind of Captain fucking America. What are you talking about? Oh, look, Mr. Perfect is confused. I am well aware that I'm not perfect, Vega. I don't need you or anyone else reminding me of that. I am more aware of anyone just how not perfect I am. No, John, I think you do need a reminder because otherwise you wouldn't keep trying to act like everything is fine with us. Okay, I'm sorry that it didn't work out between us, but sometimes it doesn't work out between two people. And two adults should be able to handle a breakup like two mature people instead of going crazy on each other. Oh, so I'm going crazy on you, but your behavior was perfectly fine. You threatened to castrate me. Oh my God. You really do think that I am just some crazy bitch. And you've probably been telling everyone that. Well, you get to walk around here with everybody thinking that you're just so perfect, while I'm the only one who knows what a piece of shit you really are. Vega, I was good to you, I was respectful, I treated you well. I would have thought you would have appreciated dating someone who was nice to you, instead of one more in the line of assholes you told me about. No, you didn't treat me well. Don't you remember? You dumped me because my mother died. That's not true. What the hell kind of thing is that to say? That is not true, Vega. It's pretty fucked up, isn't it? That is not what happened.
We broke up a month after your mother died, yes, but that had nothing to do with it. It had everything to do with it. And we broke up equals you dumped me. Vega, I knew we weren't right for each other. What did you want me to do? Just keep playing pretend as if I still wanted to be in the relationship? How long should I have waited after I had already made my decision just to be polite? 3 months? 6 months? That's bullshit. We really liked each other. We'd only been dating for 3 months when she died. We were having fun. We were growing close. You made me feel like you loved me. Well, that's how the initial stage of a relationship goes. And then you get to know the other person better and you realize. And when she died, you made me feel like you were going to be there for me. You said all the right things, but even as the words came out of your mouth, you knew that you were just saying what was expected of you. In reality, my emotional needs repulsed you. Basic, fundamental emotional needs in a relationship that you had no interest in providing. That's why you broke up with me, because all you want from women is fun and sex. You know you're incapable of having an adult relationship. And yet you led me on. You let me think that we were falling in love. You can't deny it. You know I'm right. What kind of person does that to someone? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Saying sorry doesn't change what you did. You led me on knowing that eventually you were just going to hurt me. And when my mom died, that's exactly what you did. You skipped away back to your happy land and left me alone in the darkest place I've ever been. And I think that's a pretty fucked up thing to do. See, John, what really makes me fucking crazy about the fact that you get to walk around here with everyone thinking you're some wonderful, nice guy is that you actually believe the hype about yourself. But you're not one of the nice guys. You're one of the assholes.
Is everything okay out here?
Everything is fine, Your Honor. Mr. Rockford is leaving. I still just feel so bad for her. And I just feel like maybe if she would have had a better TA. And you can't do that to yourself. All you can do is your best. You're always going to look back on a case and see things you could improve. But you have to be able to just give it your best and then give it to the jury. And if the jury has all of the evidence that you have and they decide not to convict, then that's their decision. And honestly, it's just impossible to screen out all the weird jurors. No matter how good of a lawyer you are,
If some local juror ninjas his way into your case, you could be fucked before you could even give your opening statement. You're right, but I still feel responsible. Excuse me, ladies. I hope I'm not interrupting, but I saw you from across the bar and I just had to come over and introduce myself. My name is Hector. Grandpa? We don't have room for you here anymore, John. Something just turns off inside of you. All I know, you may decide to never come back. You know how this will end. Stop pretending like she's going to be any different from anyone else. No. This is the person I've been waiting for my whole life. This is the thing I've wanted. I won't let my fears stop me again. I'm coming. Excuse me, pal. Hey, Mary. Hey, hey. Henry Clay? Oh, well, look who it is. The ugly one. What? Nice to see you again, detective. What are you doing here? Well, I'm a volunteer. What are you doing here? Henry, you're Mr. Hank. Well, yeah. What did you say your name was? To be honest, man, I was focused on your partner the other day. I'm John Rockford. Well, Mr. Rockford, it's nice to see you again. Hi, Mr. Hank. Well, good afternoon to you, young lady. How's your grandfather today? There's something off about Henry Clay. Hi, Mary. Oh, hello, Mr. Rockford. Have you come to visit Colleen again? Yes, but, hey, that nice Mr. Hank. I was just talking to, he's a regular volunteer. Yeah, Mr. Clay is here several times a week. He visits all the residents or just Colleen? He does visit all the residents, but he's especially fond of Colleen. He always makes sure to spend some time with her. And she loves his visits. I think they're really good for her. How long has he been... Yeah, fuck you. How long has he been coming here?
Oh, for years, since before I started working here. He said he started coming here as part of his sobriety program. He's got a handful of older convictions for driving under the influence. Does she have other visitors? Anyone who comes just to see her? Actually, there are a couple of people. There's an older African-American gentleman who comes by a couple times a month. Cobra Hawkins. Yeah, that's him. And then there's a woman, Jennifer. She works for the Carrington Foundation, but her visits are sort of infrequent. She'll come like a few times. She'll come like a few weeks in a row, and then we won't see her for a while. The Carrington Foundation? Yeah, it's a private organization. They pay for all of her care. I thought she was a ward of the state. She is, but the Carrington Foundation covers all of her bills. Actually, I'm not really supposed to be telling you about all this. I'm sorry, I don't want to get you in any trouble. Thank you for your help. John Rockford. Hey, Seojun. I hope I'm not interrupting family time. No, Richard is making a grocery run and Dylan is down for a nap. What's up? Look, I have a question about the foundation. The foundation is paying for the care of a woman named Colleen Thompson. Why are you asking me about that? There's a case I'm handling that involves her. What? How? Her father was connected to this cold case homicide I'm working up. Okay. Details? Well, the details aren't important. It's a private foundation, John. If you want information about how we spend money, then you can serve a search warrant or a subpoena just like everybody else. Are you seriously going to stonewall me? No, John, I'm not going to stonewall you because you're not going to stonewall me. Alright, look. She's my sister. Colleen Thompson? Look, I just found out. You didn't know? No, how did you even find that out? I tracked down someone that knew our father. Oh my god, John, your dad has been dead for years. You must know that by now, right? Yeah. Look, I need you to tell me why the Carrington Foundation is paying for her care. I don't know, John. I don't make those decisions. Who does? The Carringtons? Who exactly? Well, Colleen has been getting care since before I was involved with the foundation, but it most likely would have been the senator. Usually he just asks me to arrange care for someone, and you don't ask why. I just said Colleen was already getting care before I started there. I've only met her a few times. Her conservator submits written reports that are reviewed by both me and a judge. Every year I sign a few documents with her name on them. That's it. Seojun, Are Trevor and Jamie involved with the foundation? No, not yet. It's just their parents. Mostly just their dad. I need to talk to this Jennifer woman. Who? Don't you have a woman named Jennifer that works at the foundation? I have no idea who you're talking about. I am the foundation's only employee.
There he is.
Finally.
Am I late?
Dude, where have you been? I've been calling you for 20 minutes.
Oh, I turned my phone on silent. I guess I just forgot to turn the ringer back on.
Why?
I went to visit my sister.
Oh, okay. That's a pretty good excuse. We did miss the first showing, but there's another one in a few minutes. Hey, Trev.
Hey, buddy. It's good to see you. So how are you, man? I heard you had a big couple weeks. John? Huh? Hey, buddy. You alright?
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm fine.
I tried calling her a couple of times after the last time I'd seen her. Never heard back from her.
Hey, do you want some popcorn? Did you serve in the military?
Yes, I was enlisted for a few years.
John, are you okay? John, have you ever seen this before?
No, I don't think so.
John. Huh? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm just focused on the movie.
So, what did you think?
Great. Really good movie.
Did you like the part where Spider-Man fought the space kangaroo?
Wow, yeah, that part was crazy. There was no space kangaroo, was there?
No, John, there was no space kangaroo.
So, should we grab a drink before dinner? Let's see how many comic book inconsistencies we can come up with. Guys, I'm really sorry about this, but I have to go into the office.
John, it's Saturday night, and you just finished your trial. You don't have to go into work tonight.
I haven't seen you in almost 6 months, man. I wanted to catch up.
I know I do too, but... Guys, I'm sorry. There's just something I have to do. Well, maybe we can help you. Does this have something to do with your visit to your sister? I know that the thing you have wanted most in your life is to have a family. And I know it must have been devastating after all these years of searching to learn about your father's death. I can only imagine the complex mix of emotions you're experiencing after finding out about your sister. And I'm sure that you feel like it's your curse to have to bear all of this turmoil alone. John, Has it ever occurred to you that maybe you've had a family all along? Jamie, wait. You both are very important to me, more than I'm able to express. And I know that I keep you at a distance, and I'm sorry. But right now, there's something that I have to do alone. I promise I will explain later. You know, if you're still planning to bed and wed John, the last thing you should be doing is asking him to treat you like a sister. I know. I'm so close to solving this case. I feel like there's just one missing piece. Rachel Cross is beaten to death November 2002. Amy Mall is beaten to death September 2004. Both connected to the Orcs. Robert Jameson said your dad died in October 2001, but according to his death certificate, he died in February 2002. A heart attack? But he wasn't very old. Jamina Fedor's death certificate says she died in October 2001 of accidental blunt force trauma, but her certificate was signed by the same military doctor who signed your father's.
When Solomon smelled blood, it just sent him into a frenzy. He jumped on Danvers and started beating him in the face. We had to pull him off or he would have gone to prison for murder. He only got worse as time went on. The drinking got real bad. Andrews got a phone call from a woman telling him he needed to go to that house at that particular time to pick up a package. I only went because he had to take care of something else.
There was no package at the house, and phone records show that Amy never called him.
All accounts suggested Robert was a dedicated husband who adored his little girl. A psychologist found no evidence of any psychological condition that could explain why he murdered Rachel Cross.
Hank is especially fond of Colleen. He always makes sure to spend some time with her. He said he started coming here as part of his sobriety program.
There's no missing piece here. There's just one that doesn't fit.
Vani! John, what are you doing here? It's midnight. I'm sorry, but you weren't answering your phone. Why are you here? I need to ask you something. What color are Henry Clay's eyes? Will you please keep your voice down? What? Why? You live alone. Whatever. Look, do you remember? I don't know. I think they're brown. That's what you remember from your last visit with him? What time of day was that? Late morning, I think? He was dressed, ready for the day. Yeah? Can you check his official government record? Yeah, I can access my entire file remotely from my laptop. Okay, it says here he has green eyes. Wait, I don't think that's right. It's right. But he puts on brown contact lenses when he goes to visit Colleen. It's just one part of his disguise. Together with the long hair and the beard, he could walk right past someone he knows without being recognized. Ivani, I know who killed Amy Mall. You were right. It was Henry Clay. He also killed Rachel Cross and Jemina Fedor. Only back then he wasn't known as Henry Clay. He used the name Frank Harris, but his real name is Solomon Hobbs. Henry Clay is my father.
You can't keep getting this stuff for free. You want something, you pay for it. Wasting my fucking time calling me over here.
Come on, Larry. I just need enough to get through the weekend. I'll get my check on Monday and I'll pay you then.
I told you, no credit.
You know I'm good for it.
The fuck you are. Fucking junkies think I'm running a charity. I'm too nice to you, Rhonda. You've gotten away with too much because I'm such a fucking nice guy. No more.
Make it worth your while.
Not again. Every time you open your legs, I lose money.
You sure?
Stop. I'm bored with you.
Larry, come on. You gotta let me get a hit. I'd do anything you want. You can bring in Tony too, anything.
You say anything, but you're not desperate enough for anything yet.
I am, Larry. Anything.
Are you sure? Anything?
Anything.
We're gonna have a problem if you fucking lie to me.
I swear to God, Larry, just get me through the weekend, please.
Alright.
What? Are you sick? He's just a kid.
You said anything.
But
Are you a fucking liar? You're not gonna disappoint me now, are you, Rhonda? We're gonna have a serious problem if you disappoint me.
Oh, alright. Go in his bedroom and wait a minute. Solomon? Yeah, Mom. I need you to do something for Mommy. I need you to go in and see Mommy's friend. Go in your bedroom. Why? Just do as you're told. I don't want to. I don't like him. Solomon, don't argue with me. But he's... You get in that bedroom, you do whatever he says, or I'll beat your ass again. Mommy, please don't make me go with him. Go on. John, Robert Jameson said he saw your father die, and we have the death certificate. Signed by the same military doctor who signed Jimena Fedor's, despite those deaths happening in 2 separate California counties. And Robert said Solomon died 2 months before the death certificate was signed. No, there's something that doesn't add up. Have a seat. Tell me your theory. I believe that Solomon Hobbs, my father, killed Andres Fedor's wife, Jimena, in October of 2002. I believe that Andres and the other orcs, Cobra and Robert, took revenge and killed Solomon. Only they didn't actually kill him. Somehow, Solomon faked his death. Then, Solomon was pissed off at the orcs and decided he was going to get them locked up. And I think by now, Robert and Cobra know that Solomon is still alive. Solomon picked his method of execution very purposefully when he beat those women to death. He was sending the orcs a message that it was him framing them. But he knew they wouldn't be able to do anything about it because "I was framed by a guy I thought I had killed" wasn't gonna fly as a defense. So you think Solomon planted the evidence used to convict Robert for the murder of Rachel Cross? I think Solomon watched Robert and knew he was taking dance lessons from this woman. One day he waited until Robert left Rachel's house, snuck inside, killed her, and then planted evidence to make it look like Robert and Rachel were having an affair. The jury saw video of Robert leaving Rachel's house just before she was found beaten to death. And they figured he lost his temper with his mistress. Now he's spent almost 20 years in prison. So, the drawing found at the Amy Mall murder scene of the orc's insignia, you think that was also planted by Solomon? Robert said that Solomon was the one who designed the tattoo. He could easily have hand-drawn a copy on Amy's sketchpad. But we couldn't find any connection between Amy and the orcs. There's no evidence she was involved with either Andres or Cobra. So why was she targeted? Our theory, based on Amy's phone records, is that the man she was involved with, Ricardo, was married and having an affair with Amy. Solomon was hired to do some work for her, just like he said. And somehow he found out that Amy, who we know lived in an all-white neighborhood, was involved with this married guy, this tall Latino married guy. We estimated that Ricardo is only about 6'2", and Andres is 6'4", sure, and they really don't look anything alike. But if we're right that Ricardo was having an affair, then there's a pretty strong likelihood that Ricardo would have avoided meeting any of Amy's neighbors, a fact Solomon was counting on. However, we know that at least a couple of neighbors saw Ricardo at a distance. Solomon figured these white neighbors weren't going to be able to tell the difference between these two tall Latino guys. When the police interviewed the neighbors later, they would just tell the police she was seeing a tall Latino. And that's exactly what happened. At Solomon's direction, a woman pretending to be Amy called Andrus to come to the house, and then, just before he was due to arrive, Solomon killed Amy. Solomon's plan was that when the police arrived, Andrus would have a bullshit story about Amy calling him to motherfucking shit dick. Solomon's plan was that when the police arrived, Andrus would have a bullshit story about Amy calling him to pick up a package. He'd insist he'd never met her. And then the police would find a drawing in Amy's sketchpad of Andrus's tattoo, so it would look like he was lying. They would think Andrus was in a relationship with Amy. But I feel like there's something else missing. Your office would have needed more evidence to actually file a case against Andrus. Yes, something went wrong. The frame-up was a failure. Instead of Andrus showing up, Cobra showed up. I think that there was something else that was supposed to happen if Andrus showed up. Or maybe there was a piece of evidence planted in Andrus's car. Or maybe even something in Amy's house the original investigators missed. We know they missed her journal, and they didn't even catch Cobra's tattoo. I don't know what the rest of the plan was. We may never know because the plan didn't work, and if it had, we wouldn't be here. But the evidence we do have points to someone trying to frame Andrus for the murder of Amy Mall. Why Andrus and Robert? As far as we know, Cobra was never targeted for something like this. And why did Solomon give up after he failed to get Andrus arrested? I don't know. But I'm going to talk to Cobra again to try and find out. Sean, you're off this case. You realize that, right? You can't investigate or prosecute a case in which your father is the suspect. Lewis was right. You should never have been involved in the first place. Look, Cobra won't talk to you. I have to be the one to do this, and I have to do it alone. I'm gonna tell him who I am. He'll talk to me. John, if you fuck up my investigation... Ivani, please, I have to know. And I can't wait for you to try to do things the right way. You shouldn't be interviewing a witness alone. You'd better record the interview. If it's not recorded, it won't have any value in court. I'll record it without him knowing. How did you even come up with any of this? I visited my sister yesterday. Turns out that Henry Clay is a regular volunteer at her facility, and she just happens to be his favorite resident. The staff told me that he spends a lot of time with her every week. Something about him being there just felt too purposeful, as if it would just be too odd of a coincidence. First, he's involved with Amy Mall, who was suspected to be involved with the orcs, and then he's spending all this time with the daughter of one of the orcs. And then he asked me for my name again. Apparently he never caught it when we first met him, and there was recognition in his eyes when I told him. And as far as his appearance, something looked wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but after thinking about it for a while, I was sure that when I met him at his apartment, his eyes were green. But they were brown when I talked to him at the facility. I thought, why would any 58-year-old man wear brown-colored contact lenses?
But the facility worker told me that Cobra Hawkins visits Colleen regularly, so it would make sense for Solomon to take steps to alter his appearance, including, obviously, having his orc tattoo removed. We also know that Henry has multiple old DUI convictions, and the facility worker told me that Henry told her he started volunteering there as part of his sobriety program. Meanwhile, Robert said that Solomon never spent any time with Colleen, and he also told us that Solomon was a horrible drunk. So I thought maybe Solomon got sober, and he's spent the last several years trying to make amends with his daughter. Finally, we've got the very damning fact that Robert watched Solomon nearly beat a man to death with his fists. This is a lot, John. I mean, this sounds crazy. And at this point, it's all a theory. But if a DNA test proves that Henry Clay is my father, that will go a long way towards showing I'm right. We'll swab you on Monday. Your DNA will be added to the national database, and the system will alert us if you're a match with Solomon. We should have results in a couple of weeks. Avani? What's going on out there? Oh no. What? John, I'm so sorry. Who is that? It's my mother. What are you doing out here? It's after midnight and you're out here making all this noise? What's a man doing over here at this hour? Look at you out here with this man while you're wearing this slinky nightgown. Stop. I was getting ready for bed when he came. He just showed up. I had no idea he was coming over. It just so happens that the one night he comes is when I'm visiting. And what does it say that he thinks he can just show up in the middle of the night? Is that the message you send to men? Ivani's legs are open for business at any time they get the urge? Oh my God, stop. I didn't know he was coming. It was a surprise. And no, this has never happened before. So a man shows up and you don't put something on? Your tits are falling out. The skirt barely covers your ass. You're showing off everything. Mother, go back to bed. What are you doing here? Are you trying to have sex with my daughter? Mother, stop it. Just go back to bed. So you can get more naked than you already are? I don't think so. It's very late, sir. You need to leave. Yeah, Mother, this is John, my ex-boyfriend. The one we didn't meet? We're working on a case together. This is just a work conversation. That is all that is happening right now. Working? This is how you work, with your tits out? At midnight on a Saturday? Mother. Ma'am, I'm so sorry that I woke you. I'm John Rockford. I'm with the district attorney's office. I was working late on a case that Ivani and I are investigating together, and I came over uninvited to talk to your daughter. Sometimes I get so caught up in a case that I forget regular people are supposed to be sleeping on a Saturday night. I'm afraid I disturbed your daughter, and she was just telling me that I needed to leave. I'm so sorry. But it is such a great pleasure to meet you. I can see where she gets her beauty from.
He spent his life getting away with such lines because he is very good looking. He spent his life getting away with such lines because he is very good looking. It's very nice to meet you. You're a very polite young man. But you have a problem with, how do you say, intimacy issues. Oh my god. Uh, well, you're right. But this is all my fault. I was working late and I had an idea about the case and I just thought I needed to talk to her about it. But I should have waited until morning. It was very thoughtless of me. Well, I respect someone who is a hard worker, like Ivani. But you need to go. It's too late for her to have company. That's exactly what she told me, and I was just leaving. It was such a pleasure to meet you, and I apologize for waking you. Can you please email a copy of Henry's driver's license photo so I can show it to Cobra? And we'll talk tomorrow. John, what are you going to do if you're right? What are you going to do if he's your father? If he's just going to be the same as before, then you should be wasting time with him. He needs a friend right now, Mom. And I really hope he sees that. Lewis, have you found my dad? I spent years trying to find him. What would happen if we met again after all these years? Would he apologize for walking out?
He got worse as time went. The drinking got real bad. But there had been a time when we were close as brothers.
My whole life I've spent wishing for this, Ivani. That I could have a real family. He was under a lot of pressure. I could forgive him. I do forgive him.
Mr. Hawkins. Man, you must be joking. What is it with you guys? It's just me, Mr. Hawkins. I need to have an honest talk with you. I thought we already had an honest talk. I think Robert Jameson is innocent, but I need your help to prove it. I wasn't involved with that. I can't help you. I need to tell, I need you to really, motherfuck you. I need you to tell me what really happened to Solomon Hobbs. What makes you think you haven't already been told? Look, I know some things went down between the orcs. Did Solomon kill Jemina? I can give you immunity if you're worried about incriminating yourself. I'm not worried about incriminating myself. But it's not my place to say what happened. Solomon was my father. What the hell are you talking about? Solomon Hobbs didn't have a son. He did. My mother was Magnolia Rockford. I don't even know who that is. Man, you said you're investigating this homicide? The hell do you mean you're Solomon's son? I am investigating Amy Mall's murder. Look, I want to explain everything. I just need you to let me in. We had come back to Andress's house to find her like that. Beaten, skull cracked. She hadn't been dead very long, but she was dead. Wasn't nothing to be done for her. The respectful thing, the responsible thing, would have been to mourn her. But Andress only saw red. He wanted revenge. How did you know it was Solomon? Well, we didn't have a witness, but we didn't need one. We all knew what Solomon, or Frank, was. We had seen it before. Too many times before. As soon as I saw her lying there, I knew. Man, I tried to talk Andress out of going after him. But he and Robert left. They were gone for about 6 hours. And then they came back to the house. Andress walked through the front door and said it was over. That was it. We didn't talk any more about it. I never asked for details and I never got them. Wasn't there a death investigation for Jemina? You must have called the police. There wouldn't have been any point in that. Justice had already been carried out. What about her family? We were her family and we decided how to handle her death. Her death certificate. We had a friend of ours prepare it, a doctor we worked with in the military. The same doctor signed a certificate that said my father died months after Jemina. Originally, everybody was content for Frank to just have disappeared, but then his child's mother started asking about support. And we realized there were some veteran benefits that Colleen would miss out on. So we came up with a story about him drowning in the Kern River. Do you still believe that he died that night? When Robert was arrested for murder, Andress and I knew that he didn't do it. Some other people we were involved with thought he had just snapped, but I knew he didn't have that kind of cruelty in him. So once we became aware of the evidence against him, it seemed to us that it must have been planted by someone. But we didn't know who could have been responsible. Frank was dead. Why would we have suspected him? Then, a couple of years after he was arrested, this thing happened with me and Andrus. We didn't know all the details about what had happened with that lady, but Andrus suspected he was being set up. Andrus had been sure Frank was dead, but with the way those two women were killed, he had to question whether Frank had survived. If it was Frank, we thought I should be safe. I didn't try to kill him. But Andrus knew that Frank might try again, and so he made himself disappear. Look, it's always just been a theory. There are a lot of people who probably have grudges against us. That's why we had to change our names in the first place. We believed there were certain offended parties that may have learned who the orcs were. It could have been anybody that wanted to get us framed. Maybe somebody that knew how Jamina died and was trying to get in our heads. I don't think that really explains this elaborate scheme to get the orcs imprisoned. And you've been living here without any trouble for over 15 years. It was just Robert and Andrus who were targeted. Do you have some proof that he is still alive? That depends on you. I'm going to show you a photo, and I need you to tell me if it's Frank. Now wait a minute. Doesn't he work over at... You know, I'm not really comfortable doing this. I've given you the information you've asked for. If I help you try to put a case on him, then he might decide to come after my family. The district attorney's office can assist with witness relocation. If I needed to disappear, I could do that on my own. But my wife is disabled. She hasn't even been able to leave the house in 3 months. I'm not going to risk her life. But if I'm right, then we could exonerate Robert. Robert could have been released already if he would just tell the parole board he's guilty. No matter what, he can't get back those lost years of his life, so he might as well just tell them what they want to hear. At this point, it's his own pride that's keeping him locked up. I'm sorry, but you're asking me to kick a hornet's nest for a woman who's been dead for 20 years. I can't do anything to bring her back. Cobra. I'm sorry, John. Is Andrus still alive? He's not supposed to be. What does that mean? Look, I haven't actually talked to Andrus in years. Come on, that's bullshit. You're telling me you were that close to each other and he just cut off contact. I know you still visit Robert and my sister. We believed that Andrus was in danger and we agreed it would be the safest thing for everybody. And then he got involved and... Look, Andrus he's not available, but I think he is still alive. And if you want, I can send him a message. How? Andrus told Robert that if he ever decided he wanted to be free, then Andrus would come and break him out of prison. Okay, you don't just decide, I'm going to break someone out of prison. It's not like choosing what to eat for breakfast. Respectfully, Mr. DA, you have no idea the things we're capable of. Andrus told Robert that all he had to do was ask,
but Andrus didn't know if he was going to have a permanent phone number. And anyway, all calls from prison are logged and recorded. So using the phones would have created a trail that could lead the police to Andrus while they were investigating the prison break. So Andrus had me set up a post office box where, if either Robert or I needed to, we could reach him. He promised to check it from time to time. Unlike with the phones, there's no record kept of outgoing prison mail, and although the mail is reviewed by prison staff at the time it's sent out, anything that Robert would have sent would have been in code, and with the post office box registered to me, it would have just looked like he was sending a letter to a friend. Where is the post office box? I'm not going to tell you that, but if you want, I'll deliver a message for you. Fine. Tell Andrus the situation, and that I need someone to make a positive identification of my suspect as being Solomon Hobbs. Tell him I can offer him immunity. I'll send the message, but I don't think he's going to help you. Like I said, Andrus isn't supposed to exist anymore. John, you should know. In the end, with Frank's drinking problem, things got very bad, there's no question. But before that, we had a lot of good moments together, too. The four of us, we were more than just soldiers in a special unit. We were brothers. You, I, can you, help me. John? John, are you okay? Emmeline? What's going on? What are you doing here? John, you called me. You're outside my apartment. I was just, I was driving past. Uh, John, I'm gonna drive you to the hospital, okay? No, no. I'm fine. I just, thanks for checking on me, but I'm fine. I guess I just got dizzy for a minute. I'm not gonna bother you anymore. I'll I'll talk to you later. John, why don't you let me drive you to the hospital just to get you checked out? I think you may have blacked out. Really, I'm fine. I'm just gonna go. John, I'm not going to let you drive away after that phone call. Why don't you at least come upstairs for a bit, and I'll get you some water? Uh, all right. Can you maybe just take me to my apartment? I'll walk back for my car later. Of course. Come on in. This is my loft. This is really nice. I'd say it looks professionally decorated to look purposely I'd say it looks professionally decorated to look purposefully masculine, but something tells me you would never hire a decorator. Yeah, this is me. So, how much of the construction work did you do yourself? I did the brickwork, built the staircase, and refinished the concrete. I did have to hire professionals for the bathroom and kitchen, though. It would have been fun to do, but I didn't really have the time to learn. How did you learn to do all that other stuff? A lot of YouTube, but also my grandfather. He worked as a mechanic and was otherwise a very self-sufficient man. He died when I was 12, but I learned a lot from him in the time we had together. John, have you had an episode like that before? No. I think you had a panic attack. My mom's brother used to get them, but normally they wouldn't cause a blackout. When's the last time you ate? I guess yesterday morning. And when's the last time you slept? The night before last. Whew. Well, you will probably be okay without needing to go to the hospital, but I'm going to fix you something to eat, and then you need to get some rest. Emmeline, you have already done more than I could have asked for. John, I want to help, and I owe you some favors, don't I? Do you mind if I see what you have in your kitchen? No, I don't mind. That's nice of you. I guess there's some chicken already cooked and some tortillas. I'm glad you're here. I think I'm stuffed. Well, you're right. I do feel better after eating. Thank you. Well, I just gotta eat free food, so I say I came out ahead. How was your week? It was fine. This week we started learning about fractions. It can get a little bit frustrating for some of the kids, so I have to work extra hard to keep them interested. God, I hated math so much. I think it's fun. What was your favorite subject in school? Probably English. Did you like the reading or the writing? Both, I guess. I enjoyed language, and I enjoy stories. What about you? Probably English as well. I've always liked reading ever since I was a kid. It felt like an escape sometimes. Other than that, though, I didn't really love school. I just liked playing sports. Then why did you go to law school? Because I couldn't play sports anymore. Hmm. What about you? How did your trial go? It went well. The evidence came out pretty much as I expected. Did the jury convict the defendant? They haven't finished their deliberations yet, but I'm sure they'll convict him. It's a strong case. I'm sorry, I want you to get some rest, but I was actually going to call you today. I have something I want to ask you. Do you think we could go sit on the couch? Sure. It's hard for me to remember a lot about my dad before he went to prison. Most of my memories of him are from after he got arrested, and the ones I have hurt. I remember when he was still waiting for his trial to start. One day, my mom went to court, and she took me with her. I was sitting next to her in the audience when they brought my dad out and handled his case. And it only lasted a few minutes, and then they said they were done, and the bailiff told my dad to stand up and leave. But before my dad walked out, he turned and looked at me. He smiled really big, and he winked. And then he turned towards the door where the prisoners are, and the bailiff started to lead him away. And I didn't understand it. I thought he would come over to me. I called out to him, "Daddy," but he kept walking. I wanted my daddy, and he just walked out of the room, and I started screaming. I was so upset. I hadn't seen him for weeks. Why wasn't he coming to hold me? I was still sobbing when my mom carried me out of the courtroom. There were so many other sad moments like that as I grew older. Even just sitting alone in my room wishing I had a real dad like my friends. But eventually I realized that he had done that to me. All those bad memories, the sadness, the sense of loss. He's the one that put me through all that pain. Growing up without my dad was really hard for my mom and me, and it was his selfish choices that made our life that way. But Sean, this pain, this resentment, it's heavy. It's a burden. I don't want to carry it anymore. I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling this way towards my father. Because even after everything, I still love him. He's still my dad. Even after what he did, I shouldn't have abandoned him. I'm not sure if I forgive him yet, but I want to forgive him. And so I've decided that I want to see him again. I'm going to the prison to visit him, and I was wondering if he would come with me. John, what is it? Emmeline, this investigation I'm handling. Your dad, Robert. I think he's innocent. I think that he was framed by my father. He's innocent? Emmeline, it's just a theory. I could be wrong. He was telling the truth? All this time? My emotional needs repulsed you. What do you think happened?
Well, I think our fathers had a falling out. My father murdered an innocent woman. His unit turned on him and tried to kill him. In revenge, he framed your father for the murder of Rachel Cross. And he killed another woman, too. Emmeline, you couldn't have known. It doesn't matter. He's my father. How could I have turned my back on him? John, did you just find this out? Yeah. Is that why you had a panic attack? Yeah. I guess it is. I'm really sorry about your dad. I should go. You need some rest. I'll talk to you soon, alright? Emmeline, if you'd like to stay and talk some more. It's sweet of you to offer, John, but I'd really like you to get some rest. Emmeline, are you upset with me for what my dad did? John, of course not. And I'd still like you to come with me to visit my dad if you're willing to. Sure, I've got some contacts at the prison. I'll set it up so you can have a private visit with your dad. Thank you. And I'll let you know if my office feels there's enough evidence to prove that he's innocent. Thank you, John. Get some rest, okay? I will. Hey, my mom just left. I wanted to see how you're doing. I'm fine, just caught a nap. How did it go with Cobra? He confirmed a few things, but he refused to make the ID. Out of loyalty, or is he just worried about retaliation, like every other witness on a murder case? I'll send you the audio file. He did tell me that he's got a post office box here in town. He wouldn't tell me where it was, but apparently Andrus checks it from time to time. That's great! I can get a search warrant tomorrow for the post office to provide the location of any box registered to Cobra. We find the box, we find Andrus. You did good work, John, but I mean it. You're off this case. Lewis is meeting with your supervisor tomorrow to get it reassigned. John, why don't you let me come over for a while? I'm fine, Ivani. John, I really think you could use a friend right now. Will you let me be your friend? Unless you learn to let people in, you're always going to be alone. All you want from women is fun and sex. Thanks, Ivani, but no. I have other things to do tonight. I'll talk to you later.